What's up YouTube? This is a video on how to get the highest FPS you can get from your machine with the best visuals on the game. I will be going through every detail and setting you can get in the game, basically just running through it, also going into the config files, showing you guys what to do and how we can basically get a tiny little boost on your frames. All you gotta do is follow these few steps that I will be showing you guys, and yeah, basically copy my settings if you want the best visuals, but I'll also show you how to get even more by not using the current settings that I'm running. Alright, the first thing we're gonna be doing is going over to that settings step at top, go to graphics, and I'm gonna be taking you guys through the display, quality and view, and then I'm gonna be hopping into some extra things you can do in your actual game's config file, which is completely legal. I'm gonna do it within the bounds, but Call of Duty will be allowing you to do it. Alright, so the first thing you gotta do if you want the least input delay on any of your devices you're using, whether it's keyboard or mouse or controller, it doesn't matter. You want to set this into full screen exclusive. This is for display mode. The reason why you want to do this is it reduces the input delay on all your devices. But I currently like playing on borderless because I'm a streamer and I need to go between screens and stuff. You want to make sure that you set your refresh rate the highest on your screen. So if you basically go full screen, you'll be able to change it. Make sure your refresh rate is the highest your screen supports, which on my screen is 144 Hz. Alright. Then if you go a little bit down to your aspect ratio, this is also to do with your screen. If you don't know what yours is, automatic is perfectly fine. And if you scroll a little bit down and you find NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency. So this is a little bit of a tricky one. You kind of have to test how your PC is running this game. What you want to do, you want to open up your task manager. But you can go by right clicking at the bottom and go to task manager. And then go to performance. So what you got to do is you have to check if your CPU is running on maximum performance or if your GPU is. So if your CPU is running on 100% usage, then what you got to do is you want to set this to on plus boost, because this will basically help your GPU to process a little bit more, meaning you get lower latency on your game. If you have a CPU which is running low but your GPU is maxing out, you want to set it to on. So basically you have to see and play the game and see which one is the highest, and then obviously if it's the CPU that's highest, on plus boost. If it's CPU that's the highest, then it's just on. If we go a little bit down on the echo mode preset, you want to set that to custom. On the VSyncs, I don't really play with VSyncs. You can turn it off. You definitely do not want to have VSync on your gameplay. This will cause input delay on your PC. Okay, and then let's go over to the quality tab, chat. So clicking on the quality tab, there's going to be a little bit of a few settings we're going to be going through, and I'll be telling you how to basically get the best graphics out of this. This is all my settings that I'm currently running, is to get currently the best FPS with best visuals, because I like the game to look a little bit pretty when I play it. Okay, if you don't want the game to look pretty, you just want the maximum frames you possibly can get out of Call of Duty, I would just highly recommend just turning everything to low. But obviously I'm not going to show you that now. I'm going to show you what settings I'm running to get that FPS. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is your render resolution. You want to set it to 100%. This will give you a little clear detail. You can set it to 90 if you're struggling to get frames. 90 will kind of still look good, but I prefer just running around 100 because that's how the game is supposed to be played. Okay, dynamic resolution I got on off. Upscaling, sharpening. If you are struggling with frames, you can set it to DLSS, or if you're running AMD graphics card, you can set it to FSR 3.0. Currently, you will see the more you move in the game, the kind of fuzzy it looks or blurry, but that's what the game does, is it kind of like uses your CPU in a scenario to just render out the frames with AI, from my understanding, which will give you a higher FPS. But I like the game to look sharp. I'm using Fidelity Cache to make my game look sharp, so I like to set it on to 100%, but you can see whatever fits your boat. So basically anything from 80% to 100 kind of makes the game look insanely crisp, which I like. Ray tracing, you just want to turn off. You're not going to use this at all. This will eat your frames up. So on VRAM scale target, you want to set yours to however your game plays. If your game is very stuttery, you want to set it down to 60 or 70%. All this does is, this is not going to give you more frames, but this will help you with stuttering issue. It kind of limits the game to not grab too much resources from your graphics card. So by limiting it to 60 or 70%, it's telling your game can only use this amount of VRAM. So let's say you have a 16 gig or a 10 gig card, it's only going to use, if it says 70%, it's only going to use 7 gigs out of the 10 gig card. So that's a quick example of how that works. This basically can help you with stuttering issues, so set it however it works for your machine. Okay, variable rate shading. So I put this on, it gives you more frames. And then texture resolution I got on normal. texture filtering and anisotropic I got on high. The reason I got this on normal and high, I want my visuals to look kind of crisp. In this case, it gives me this with the amount of frames. If you set the texture filter too high, it doesn't really have that big of an impact on your machine, so putting it on here will be perfectly fine. Depth of field I have off, detail quality level I got on low, particle resolution I have on very low, bullets impacts I have on. If you want to see how your bullets is hitting a wall or see the bullet spray on walls, you can basically have this on, but it has no impact really on your game's performance whatsoever. Persistent effects I have off. Shader quality, this is has a huge impact on your graphics. You want to turn this off. This will literally eat your graphics card up alive. On-demand texture streaming on off. So on-demand texture streaming, let me just give you guys a tip on this. So what this actually does is, and it kind of messes up your a lot. If you have a slow internet and you have on-demand texture streaming on, it will basically download textures of the game while you're playing. So that means you have input lag, delays in your game, stuff popping in. You will have scenarios where you have high latency in game. This is all related to this setting, so you want to actually turn it off so your PC just plays the game as it is on your computer. Okay, so local texture streaming low, so this is basically works together with on-demand texture. So if you have it off, this won't matter. Shadow quality, I have it on normal. If you, what you can do is you can turn it completely off to very low if you don't care about shadows at all. I do use the shadows in the game because you kind of sometimes spot someone which you wouldn't have spotted, which the shadow will reveal of someone on a building above you. So I do actually use the setting a lot for combat. So make sure to set it whatever is your preference here. But normal to very low, you don't see a very big frame difference. Anything below here basically off. So screen space, ambient, screen space, and static reflection, all of that on off. Tessellation off, volumetric quality off or low, physics quality off. Care about, I don't know how many of you guys spend time in the water, off or low. So then let's go to view. Cool thing about the view tab that I'm gonna be going through to you guys right now is that a lot of people ask us, how do we have such a low recoil? Like, it doesn't look like we have recoil. Besides that, we are just pulling the analog stick down for the recoil, chat. There is also a trick to it. So when you are running your game settings on a field of view of 120, which we have right here, 120. The reason why we run 120, it kind of zooms the gun out, because if it's zoomed in on 60 or 90, whatever you play on, you will see the gun go literally like this. The more you zoom out, you even have your hand in front of your face, the less it looks. So a lot of people don't actually pick up on this on like, it actually makes your gun shake less with the field of view. However, with a higher field of view, that does mean you're gonna sit with a scenario, chat. So you're gonna sit with a scenario where the targets are a lot smaller now, because of the higher field of view, the targets will be tinier and it will be harder to hit your shots. So you kind of have to pick your poison. I know a lot of pros likes to play on 110 to 115. It's kind of like the sweet spot that they like to play. They feel like aim assist is better there. I don't think it makes a difference, but people like to play there. Okay, so then ADS field of view, you want to set it to affected and not independent. Independent means if your gun is zooming in, it will just go to the 90 field of view or something like that. I think it will like make the gun go bigger. But if you go affected, it will keep it by the field of view that you set, so your gun will just look normal in that sense. Okay, and then weapon field of view, I got mine set to default. I know a lot of people like to play with wide, makes your weapon look smaller and it gives you a more wider field of view. I like to play with a default because this is what I'm used to. Okay, I don't really play third person, so I'm gonna skip that. Motion blur you obviously want off. Weapon motion blur you want off. Firm grain I have on 0. And then another thing that helps you with recoil, chat, is the first person camera movement. You want to set it to least, which will give you the least amount of motion on your gun while you're shooting. Chat, you guys gotta go like this. It's gotta go like this. Like, where you going, boy? You know, he's gotta put it on the least. Now let me show you guys some cool settings now in the config file and things you gotta be picking up and looking at which your computer is, how your computer is built, or what kind of CPU you has, whether it's a 6-core, 8-core, 12-core CPU, how you gotta set your settings in there in your config file in order to make this work or get an extra like 10 to 20% boost. Because currently by default for AMD users, Call of Duty does not put the right amount of cores that your CPU has, which causes you to actually not have the full performance of your PC. But I think on Intel cases, in most cases you will be fine. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, what CPU you have and how many cores it has. Okay, so you can go to your task manager, or you can go search task manager, whatever works for you. You want to go to performance and click on your CPU. You will see here at the bottom, the zoom in there, master editor. You will see here on your cores, this will be what you will be setting in your config. If you are an AMD user, it's a direct comparison. If it's 6 cores, 6, you put 6 in. If it's 8 cores, you put 8 in. So basically whatever cores associated. I think Intel is always 1 less than the amount of cores you have, something like that, or always on 4, one of the two. Just play around which number works and see how it goes. But let me put you guys to the file. So let me take you guys are gonna go documents, Call of Duty players. Then you're gonna look for the options for COD 1, which is this one. Alright, so you will look for render work account. Shit, I think I'll put it at the bottom. Every setting I change in here. Render work account. For your render work account, you're gonna want to set it to 6, which is now, like I said, the equivalent of the cores you have here. So mine will be 6. If you have an 8 core here, you put 8. If you have 12, you put 12. So you basically just put whatever it is. If you have Intel, I believe it's 1 less than what you have, or 6 or 4. 6 or 4 was the max or something like that. Just play around. Every time you feel like you don't get enough frames, add extra. So well, obviously if you have 6 cores, you can't go more than 6. So you can go 4, 5, 6, and every time you go in your game and you test and you test and you test, and you get the best version of your game, or you see where you get the most frames. Just note that you maximum is 16 that you can go to. There is other things I've changed in this file. I will be going through to you guys, so let me take you guys to it. Oh, the second thing we can change is corpse limit. You can set it to 1 or 0. 0 basically means no corpses, no dead bodies will lay on your game. This will help your PC out a lot and will increase your frames by a lot. I like to see at least 1 dead body laying around, so I put mine to 1. And then if you don't like to see blood in the game, there's a setting called show blood. This will also help with FPS. I set it to false, and then the blood limit I set to true, meaning my blood will now be limited to 0, meaning no blood at all in the game. And then the blood limit interval I set to 1 out of 2000. So this is basically just me bringing everything to almost 0. The more frames you basically will gain out of the game. Just FYI, make always sure that you set it near the limit of what they state here. So as an example, you can't put the 0 here if it says 1 to 2 to 2000. Okay. Alright, so the other setting now will be called corpses culling threshold. So you want to set this to the lowest value. This will also give you a lot more frames, and you will basically not see any difference in your game whatsoever. So you can set that to, you can literally copy this and paste it inside of here, chat. So also what you want to set is your texture filtering. You can basically pick whatever is the best for your machine. I'm currently playing on 16, but if you actually want more frames, you can put it back to texture filter to the nearest. Then you can just paste it in here. This will give you more frames. I don't really need this setting, so mine is set to whatever I'm using in game. Just the FYI on that one, chat. And that's basically it, chat. That is the settings you get here on the config file, which you can change and tweak. There is obviously more settings you can go into this file and change. Make sure you do change it within the limitations that Call of Duty is giving you, so you're not breaking any rules that you're not supposed to be doing. So chat, if this video actually helped you out, comment down below, say it worked, tell me how much more FPS you got. There is a benchmark tool in the game, or just run at the same spot in the map and keep looking at the same target. Check if your FPS actually increased. If it did, comment down below, let us know what worked. And also, if you found other settings in the options file that I just showed in the config file, comment down below what that code was and what you changed and how much more frames you got after you changed it. Chat, I hope you guys this video was informative. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to ever catch me live, I am now streaming on YouTube as well as on Twitch, so check out those 2 channels as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and adios amigos. Have a nice day.
Adios amigos.